morning, student. Now we get to see the lesson 1, chemical reactions and equations. Do you think when we keep a milk at room temperature at summer, what will happen? You just take a iron pan or nail and you expose it into the humid atmosphere. What is the changes that takes place? When we cook the food, what are the changes that takes place? When your respiration takes place in our body, what takes place on it? So these are all represent chemical reaction, because the milk contains a lactose. So if that lactose is converted into lactic acids, and iron is converted into iron oxides. When your respiration takes place, the oxygens what we inhale in our body, it will be converted into carbon dioxide. So these are called as the chemical reactions. Generally we can say as chemical reaction is a process which where the reactant gets converted into the product which may be under the influence of catalyst. Okay, in this lessons mostly we are going to discuss about how to write the chemical equations and how to balance the equations is going to see about it, but we have to learn what is chemical reactions. Okay, how we know that chemical reaction means the conversion of one product to another, reactant to product, it is called as a chemical reactions. Okay, how we identified whether this chemical reaction takes place, what are the changes will takes place? The first one is change in state, and second is change in color, and evaluation of gases takes place, or change in temperature. So all the changes should not be takes place in all the reaction. Sometimes some reactions takes place, some reactions 2 or 3 conditions can be satisfied. For example, we take the burning of coal, so wood. The wood have some solid structures. Okay, it is a solid. On the burning, the solid will become as a gaseous carbon dioxide. So the change in state takes place. The color changes. The wood color will be converted into the black ash will comes, and colorless carbon dioxide will comes. And evaluation of gases. In this process, it evaluate more vapor like the carbon dioxide and water vapors will be liberation will takes place. And change in temperature. So on the burning process, it liberates huge amount of heat, so the temperature changes takes place. So these things is explains chemical reaction takes place. Okay, all the chemical reactions follows the law of conservation of mass. Law of conservation of mass is nothing but how much reactant, weight of reactant is converted into the product, thus much of the product will becomes, thus much amount of product will becomes. This is called as a conservation of mass. It says as matter can neither be created nor be destroyed in a chemical reactions. Okay, writing a chemical reactions. Okay, this is an important part we are going to discuss hereafter. The chemical reactions we can be represented by some chemical equations, like a magnesium on oxidation, it will gives magnesium oxide. So this is called as a chemical reactions can be represented in the formulas. Okay, this is generally we called as a chemical equations. Okay, how we can write the chemical equation? They have follows some rules to write the chemical reactions. The first one, a word equations. So we have to know about word equation. Word equation, it says the change of reactant to products through an arrow placed between that. So actually this is called as a word equation. Magnesium plus oxygen gives magnesium oxide. This is called as a word equations. And always we have to write reactants at the left hand side and product as a right hand side. We will be add one or more reactant or product is there, we have to use the plus symbol. The arrow points towards product is shows the direction of reactions. So magnesium and oxygen converted into magnesium oxide. The direction of product will be represented by this arrow mark. Okay, next A chemical equation, the explanation of chemical equation. A chemical equation is used to represent the chemical reaction. If you recall the formula of magnesium and oxygen, we know that magnesium is represented as Mg and oxygen we represent the formula is O2. On the combustion, it will gives magnesium oxides. Okay, this is representation of chemical reaction. Here see that the reactants always write in the left hand side and products we write on the right hand side. The one or more than one product reactant is there, we are using the symbol plus symbol here. Okay, next. So whether are you feel this is reaction is balanced? Actually one magnesium is there, so one magnesium is comes, and here two oxygen is there but only one oxygen is there, so it is not balanced equation. I am asking the question, why we have to balance the equation? Because then only we can understand how much reactants is needed to get the particular amount of product. Okay, so if I want to get 2 moles of magnesium oxide means I have to take 2 magnesium, this one and this one, then only it will be react with 1 mole of oxygen molecules and it gives 2 moles of magnesium oxide, this one and another this one, 2 moles of magnesium oxide we can be get it. Okay, so this is the reasons we have to balance the chemical equations. Okay, the balancing in chemical equations is represent the number of elements and both sides should be equal. That is only it is called as a balanced equation. Otherwise that equation is called as a skeletal equation. Skeletal equation means simply we can write magnesium plus oxygen gives magnesium oxide. That is called as a skeletal equation. Balanced equation means number of reactant as well as products. The elements present in number of reactant and elements present in the product should be equal, then only it is called as a balanced equations. Let's take another reactions. Zinc plus sulfuric acid, it gives zinc sulfate and hydrogen. Okay, so this is called as a word equation, and we are writing zinc represented by Zn and sulfuric acid, we can, the formula of sulfuric acid is H2SO4. When it will be added we can get zinc sulfate plus H2. Whether it is a balanced equation, we can check it. How many zinc is here? 1. So 1 left hand side is 1. And number of atoms in products, how many zinc? Here also 1 zinc. So zinc is balanced. Next, hydrogen. 2 hydrogen here and here also 2 hydrogen, so balanced. And 1 sulfur, here also 1 sulfur. 4 oxygen, here also 4 oxygen, so all are balanced. So this reaction is called as a balanced chemical reactions. Okay, another example we take iron. So iron plus H2SO gives iron oxide plus H2. In this reaction, whether we check whether it is balanced, see how many iron is present? Here 1 iron, but here 3 ions. Hydrogen 2 hydrogen, so hydrogen is 2, it is balanced. But oxygen, here we have only 1 oxygen, but here we have a 4 oxygen. So this reaction is not balanced reaction. So we have to balance the equation. How we can balance? So we have steps to balance equations. The first step, we have to draw the boxes around the formula. So iron, I give on a box here, and the water H2O I have given a box, and iron oxide and hydrogen. First we have to put a box, and second step, list the number of atoms in different elements. Okay, so here how many atoms? Only 1, but here 3 iron. Here hydrogen is 2, here also hydrogen is 2, but oxygen here is 1 and here is 4. This is the second step. Next, third step, we are going to start balance equation. First, the atom which is present a maximum numbers in a compound, that will be, we have to try to balance. Okay, so here see that here the oxygen is 4, oxygen only having the maximum atom present in both sides. So we are first we have to balance the oxygen. For that we are going to multiply the 4 by this H2O, 4 H2O. Okay, initial how much water molecules? 1 water molecules, how much oxygen? 1. Okay, do you know that why we take as oxygen? Because oxygen is present in the maximum numbers. Okay, so here see that oxygen is 4 oxygen is there, so we have select oxygen. For in other case, if hydrogen is having a more number of hydrogen atom, means first we have to try to balance the hydrogen atom. Okay, so we multiply by 1, sorry, multiply by 4 here. Okay, so what we can get after multiplication, we can get 4 oxygen. Here also we have 4 oxygen, but at the same time what happened to the hydrogen? When you multiply, we can get here 8 hydrogen, here only 2 hydrogen. So next step we have to balance the hydrogen. Actually this is hit and trial method. Okay, the first step we have to give a boxes, and second step we have to list the number of atoms in the both sides, reactant and products, and third step we have to select which is maximum number of atom is present, we have to select, and it should be multiplied by either side reactant or product to equating this. Okay, and next hydrogen. So iron and hydrogens are still not balanced, so we are going to multiply the hydrogen by 4. So 4 into H2. Okay, so now you check it, the oxygen is balanced and the hydrogen is also balanced. Okay, but still now iron is not balanced. Here we have only 1 ion, but at the product side we have 3 ions, so iron is not balanced. So we are going to multiply the, at fifth step we are going to multiply the ion by 3. So now you check it, 3 ions, and here also 3 ions, and 4 into O, 4 oxygen, here also 4 oxygen, and 4 into 2, 8 hydrogen, here also 8 hydrogen. So the equation is balanced. Okay, these are the 6 steps we have to follow that. So after completing balance equations, we have to mention the physical states by using some symbols. For example, our gaseous state of a compound is present, we have to use G. Liquid is present, we have to use L. Aqueous means we have to use as a AQ. Aqueous is nothing but the salt which is dissolved in the water, it is called as aqueous solution. We have to mention by AQ. Solid we have to mention by S. If any precipitate comes after the reaction, we have to write down arrow mark. Gaseous products is evolved means we have to write upward arrow mark. So see that here iron is taken as a solid, so we are mentioning yes. And water vapor, steam we have to be use it. Actually water is a liquid at 25 degrees Celsius, but in this reaction hydrogen have to give the product as iron oxide, we have to use steam. Okay, so that is the reason we are mentioning the gas G. And the product iron oxide is also solid, and here the hydrogen gas is evolved, we are using G. Otherwise we can mention as upward arrow mark, it is also not wrong. Actually this is hit and trial method. These are the steps we are used to balance the equations. Okay, that's all. Now we go to see some practice questions. See that they are given a word equation, they ask you to balance the equation. Hydrogen plus chlorine gives hydrogen chloride. What is the formula of hydrogen? H2. Formula of chlorine is Cl2. The product is hydrogen chloride is HCl. So see that 2 hydrogen, 2 chlorine. So we need to multiply the 2 by HCl, we can get the balance equation. We take as a barium chloride, 3 BaCl2, because the formula of barium chloride is BaCl2. Aluminum sulfate is Al2SO4 twice. Okay, so how many product comes? BaSO4 and aluminum chloride. See that here which is a maximum? Sulfur dioxide is a maximum 3 times. So first we have to try to balance the sulfur dioxide. For that purpose we multiply by 3 here. When I multiply with 3 here, I can get 3 barium. So I multiply this also by using 3. So I can get products like this. Okay. Okay, sodium plus water gives sodium hydroxide plus water. So Na plus H2O gives NaOH plus H2. Okay, so these are the practice questions. You try it. I have enclosed 2 more practice questions and answers are there. You try to use by using this steps. Step 1, step 2, step 3 up to step 7. Okay, if you have any doubts, you ping me. Thank you.